Welcome back to the Brandon Smith Rugby channel here on YouTube. This video is all about Major League Rugby and asking the question, are there too many foreign players in Major League Rugby? Is it hindering the growth of USA or Canadian players, or is it a fantastic way of growing the league? This week I discussed this with Rob Hammerschmidt and Scott Ferrara, the big guy from the MLR Rant podcast. You can check them out, link in the description down below. Fantastic podcast covering everything to do with North American rugby. Thank you for them for coming on to the show. As always, do subscribe here. We're trying to hit 600 subscribers and we're nearly halfway there. So your help to get in there, we're on about 540, 550 at the minute. So your help will be massively appreciated. So hit the subscribe button. It's free to do and keeps you up to date with everything that goes on here on the channel. Enough chit chat from me. Let's get into it.
Do you believe it's an issue of foreign players coming in and taking possible places of USA internationals? I just want to go over a couple of things that I picked up on how many players are currently foreign players in each squad. So for Houston Sabercats, they've got 16 foreign players. San Diego also have 16. Seattle have 18. Utah have the most in the league with 19. And then NOLA have 13. Toronto only have 8, but they're in Canada, so it's a little bit different. I'll go to Scott first. Do you think that they're getting the balance right between bringing these foreign players in? Do you think they need to lessen it a little bit? Maybe say what the MLS are doing. They got the designated player, of course. Is that something that Major League Rugby could look at doing?
So right now, the way Major League Rugby is, for to field a team, you can only have 10 of those foreign nationals on the field, right? And actually, those spots are tradable. So Rooney, for example, traded their draft picks from the draft and got an extra spot. So technically, Rooney can field 11 foreign-born players, right? Or foreign-eligible players. Here's the thing. You're also looking at the foreign players we just talked about are all 4 guys who are kind of older, right? Most young foreign-born players are coming to New York or coming to the U.S., and they're looking to start the residency. They've been playing college 4 years. They might be under the 3-year rule instead of the 5-year rule, which just passed for residency in America. I mean, you have guys like James Rochford, Patty Ryan, Dylan Fawcett, Marcus Walsh is eligible for USA Eagles. J.P. Aguirre eligible for USA Eagles. Julio Cesar Giraldo is almost eligible to be an Eagle. Those are all guys who were born either in Ireland, either in Argentina, in Colombia, and are young, knowing that if they stay in the MLR pathway, they can get to that Eagles pathway. So I think that's a little skewed because you're going to have guys who are in the middle of that residency period who at age 27 are going to become USA eligible, and then they're going to be looked at for the team. So I think you have to realize that a lot of the younger players are trying to become Eagles and are in a residency period.
Is that a good thing, or would you rather see USA-born players take position, or do you think that it's the situation that simply that maybe the USA-born players are not good enough? Is that maybe the issue?
No, I think iron sharpens iron, and I hope Rob is going to agree with me on this point. Iron sharpens iron. You want the USA team to be the best team it could be, and if you have a guy like J.P. Aguirre who's going to come in, play rugby here, and get that residency requirement, he's going to make the guys around him better. So that would show an American-born player, I have to step my game up if they're deciding they're going to take somebody from Argentina to take my spot.
It's a good point for sure. Rob, you going to jump in?
I absolutely agree with the big guy on this one. And I'm gonna say it's being doubled down, particularly in some of the examples that the big guy talks about. And I'll talk about a guy like J.P. Aguirre, who went to Lindenwood over there, one of the better collegiate programs in the country. And for those in the UK that don't know, my own son is there playing. And the thing that I've noticed is guys like that help grow the game at the collegiate level for American players. And what we're going to see, I believe, as the MLR grows, we're also going to see a better caliber of athlete commit to rugby rather than American football or American soccer and or American basketball. And so what we're seeing is that the collegiate programs will bring those players over. There will be more money given to players in terms of scholarships. That'll open the door and pave the way for American players who perhaps dabble in rugby in high school or grade school or middle school, and they'll begin to think more seriously about playing rugby as their first choice, because they can get more money to go to college, and then they also see the opportunity to make a career out of playing professional rugby. So again, it's double down. And a great example of what you talked about is Wesley White. We had Wesley on the show a couple of weeks ago. Wesley actually came to the United States. Jake White's son came to the United States, played at Lindenwood. It was actually on a pathway to be a U.S. Eagle, right? And due to some unfortunate events tied to visa issues, particularly money and how much can be, gotten in terms of gifts and things like that, it went from a 3-year cycle to a 5-year cycle for him. And so he had to look for alternatives based upon his his family. But he was somebody exactly what we're looking for.
I just like to point, and I just like to point out, nobody complains when there's Fijians, Samoans, and Tongans who are playing on the Australian and New Zealand squad.
Yeah, that's a great point.
But you want to start talking about how there's not enough Americans on the American squad. I mean, Eddie Jones said it best. New Zealand and Australia have the 3 best academies in the world, right?
I quite enjoyed that little comment, even as a Welshman. I enjoyed that little comment. I thought that was quite funny.